Welcome to Mint Views. Today we will talk about driverless cars. Union Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari has said he will not allow driverless cars on Indian streets. The question is this good or is this bad? The reason he's offered is that drivers in this country form a large part of our employment sector, and therefore we must not allow driverless cars to take away these jobs. But there are various dimensions to this argument, so let's begin. Srijay, you have a point here.
Sure, Arish. This entire plan to not allow driverless car on Indian roads actually goes against the grain of allowing consumers a choice. I, as a consumer, would want to exercise that choice if I can afford it and if it spares me the pain of driving a car myself. There was a lot of resistance, if you see, when computer technology was coming up. But look how far we have come with that technology.
So there must be some other reason that we do not want to actually have these driverless cars. They could be dangerous on the streets, for example. What do you think, Anand?
Yeah, I think Mr. Gadkari is absolutely spot on this. I am seriously not in favor of this, advancement in technology to an extent that we can't even implement it properly. I think we are going beyond our means right now. If we have to have driverless cars, they can't coexist with cars that have drivers. I think it will require a system which will perhaps require policy intervention on the part of the government, an integrated, wholesome system that can accommodate either of them, I guess. So, we just don't have the infrastructure to have this kind of a setup in India. And you've seen this technology is still not proven in countries like the US. They're still having accidents where they're testing it. So how can you expect it to be good over here? That's a big issue.
There'll be possibly chaos on Indian streets if we have it. What do you think, Shrija?
There's a catch, Anand. I mean, I quite agree that we don't have the robust infrastructure, as you've mentioned, if the concept of driverless cars gets rolled. But when you talk about not having driverless cars on the streets, it means you're not against technology, but you're sort of obstructing any form of technological innovation or progress. And given that the government is pretty, gung-ho about technology being, drivers of economic growth, we have seen with the Make in India initiative, the GST implementation, the demo exercise where, adoption of technology formed a crucial part in the government's programs. So, don't you think that Gadkari's statement actually sits at odds with the entire government in that sense?
I think while chasing technology, we tend to get into adventurism. You've seen what happened with the two transitions that the auto industry is also already faced. The BS4 to BS6 transition, the EV transition. These have already caused such a severe disruption in the industry that if you bring one more, then it's going to be chaos for the industry completely.
Well, these kind of cars which will be run by satellites on Indian streets sound very hard to actually manage. For one thing, I think, what if they are vulnerable to a hacker attack? What happens if someone busts into the system and messes it all up? We might be in big trouble. Second, who bears the responsibility for a crash? In this case, there are satellite systems, computers behind chips running the car. So I don't think it's that simple. It may not be safe. This looks like a very tricky one. What do you think about this, Anand?
No, absolutely. I completely agree with it. Yeah, but I think Rohit had a point about safety.
So regarding the fact, the concern that you raised, I think those are implementation concerns, and they will have to be looked at by experts. But we also need to consider that driverless cars have the potential of addressing the problem of road rage.
Computers will not be smashing each other up. On the other hand, we need to trust that this technology actually works.
Mind you, the infrastructure in India, the road network, the number of cars is worse in India compared to all these advanced countries. So it will perhaps be a sensory overload for, if cars are fitted with these kinds of equipment.
On that, it looks like the minister has probably got his instincts right. It's too ahead in the day to actually try and have driverless cars on Indian streets. They're not being tested worldwide. And yes, there is a jobs problem that we have to actually address. Eventually, though, perhaps we would have some pilot experiments to check if it works. If it does, then if it is proven safe, we should probably think of adopting it. But until then, the minister seems right, we must not. Thank you.